tailgate. It's going to be our last live before the game. And if the technology allows, we're going to do one after the game or a wrap. If not, we're going to have our podcast on Monday. We're going to bring everything to you guys. But let's talk about this game tonight. It's a first official Copa Tejas game. I know there was already a game, but that didn't count because it was an uneven amount of games that the Copa Tejas teams were going to play. So that RGV San Antonio game that happened, a couple of weeks ago.
I think 3 weeks ago now.
That does not count for Copa Tejas. It counts for USL Championship, which I think was an important win for San Antonio. But going into the second derby of the year, Jonathan, first Copa Tejas official game, how is this team looking for tonight?
I'd say the team is, and as I've written and said, they're getting results, which at the end of the day, that's what's going to last more. That's what's going to make people the happiest. The performances obviously haven't been the best, and you can maybe look at some things off the field. Players, high-profile players already leaving SAFC, not ideal, but at the same time, that's going to happen over the course of the season. You just have to expect it, and maybe the fact that SAFC is getting it out of the way now is a good thing. But in terms of the play on the field, SAFC is getting the job done. They've been very strong defensively. That was something that was really crucial for them in the run-in last season. And the fact that they're already doing that is really positive. And especially with all the injuries, particularly in attack, it makes a lot of sense that SAFC can rely on that defense. It's obviously coming up against a really strong attack tonight with the likes of Diego Luna and all those players. So it'll be a test, but we'll see if SAFC is able to hold up to that and get the goal or two that they need on the other end.
I always like to talk about Diego Luna, right? Everybody knows I'm a big fan of that. We can't call him a kid anymore, but I'll call my age. I can call him a kid anytime. But
legally, he's an adult.
Yeah.
But Joe, a beginning of the season, a scary beginning of season. But even on the last two defeats, there was some offensive power. And the last game comes in, and the offensive comes strong. The defense comes strong, and a big win. Can this team hold what they did on the last game, or are we going to see a little bit more of the first several games?
Well, can they hold, or as far as the last game goes, coming into tonight, I think the last game is a wash. I think the Locomotive are obviously going to face a much better, much more quality side, all respects, to Monterey Bay FC, a team that in San Antonio FC that has done things right. I concur with everything that Jonathan says. And another thing, Roberto, San Antonio FC team that's going to be defending the home field advantage tonight. They're going to be a little bit extra motivated. They know what's at stake. I think there's value in what San Antonio does tonight if they do it right, because they'll be doing things against a El Paso Locomotive team that obviously historically is one of the better teams in the conference or in the league. And not only that, but this El Paso Locomotive FC team is going to come in continuing to grow and build. But one thing they haven't shown is they haven't shown consistency in a positive way yet. So I think that's going to be the biggest question coming in tonight.
Can that consistency come also from Diego? Let's talk about Diego a little bit, right? Diego had a nice game, I think, less game. Good. He scored a nice goal.
He and Dylan Maris have been the most consistent pieces of this Locomotive team all season long. So I think with them coming into tonight against a very, very stingy, very, very disciplined and systematically well-arranged defensive effort, the way San Antonio FC has been putting in, I think it's going to be very, very interested. I am very interested, guys, in the first 25 minutes of this match tonight, because for the Locomotive, in that 15 to 25-minute mark, that's set the pace for what the games and the results are going to be for the Locomotive. So fans watching it, following the game, or if you're making your way over to Toyota Field, that's to me the key of the game. That 10-minute window between the 15 and 25-minute mark.
Talking positive about going from positive on Diego Luna in El Paso, going to a little bit of maybe a negative, we could say, happening this week. Everybody, I didn't hide this on the podcast, how excited I was to have Kikuta Mane playing for San Antonio. And a big surprise this week, where beginning of the season he gets hurt, long-term injury. Can you talk about a little bit about the injury and then what happened this week with San Antonio letting him go?
Yeah, sure. And I kind of summarized it in an article this week, a pretty quick article, only a few paragraphs if you want to go and read everything there. But Kakutamane comes in with a fantastic pedigree. I think I saw he was the youngest player to score a hat trick in MLS history. Spent 9 seasons, I believe, mostly with MLS teams, playing in the top division. Comes into SAFC, plays half of a preseason match, and then gets injured. In the second match of the season, SAFC announces in their injury report, hey, he underwent a successful shoulder surgery. We'll reevaluate him in 12 weeks. And that was pretty much all we heard. He was on the injury report for a couple more weeks, and then less than a month after that announcement saying we're going to reevaluate him later, SAFC says, you know what, we're just going to buy out his contract and we're going to move on.
The interesting part about that also that we were just talking off record, off camera, was that they announced that he was out on Wednesday, right? They came out with the press release. You did your article. You were able to talk to Kikuta, man, actually text back and forth with him during that Wednesday. And then Thursday come, everything on San Antonio is deleted related to that. I know you're trying to figure this out with the club and with Kikuta at this point. We just looked at that. Very very strange, right?
Yeah, it was very weird, and I can't really remember a time when SAFC has ever just completely scrubbed that kind of news from social media, from their website. I mean, it was weird. For whatever reason, Thursday night, I decided to check their website, and the announcement wasn't there. And I look on social media, and there was kind of this gap between announcing the signing of Nicky Hernandez and then the all the players trying to draw Texas. Uh, in there was the announcement about Mane, and you could tell SAFC really wanted to just bury this news, even just with the timing they did it. I mean, it happened at 5 p.m., so it very much felt like we're going to do it at the end of the day, let everyone grumble, and then tomorrow we move on. But for them to just completely get rid of all the news and act like they never even announced that, even though he, the last I saw, wasn't on the roster, it's really strange. And again,
we're gonna
Well, we caught it here at the Striker Tejas.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna be digging this a little bit more and talking to the club today and in the coming days. Bring all the information to you guys. But maybe the good news out of this bad news is that maybe this team does not need Kikuta Mane, right? With the start of the season, or how do you feel, Jonathan?
I mean, it's really difficult because, like I've said, SAFC has all these injuries in attack specifically. Not having the likes of Santiago Patino and more recently David Loera. Those are difficult players to miss. Mane, when he came back, could have been really dynamic. What I understand, people say he's a very fast guy, if nothing else. And
Yeah, he's fast. Yeah, if he takes the chances and goes after the defense, it's hard to hold him back. That's a true thing. All right, let's wrap this up. Joe, who should people look at? I think you already said this, but if you're watching the game on ESPN Plus tonight, or if you're here at the stadium, what is that piece that we should be looking at tonight on El Paso?
Without a doubt, easily for me is the defensive line. I hope the starting 11 repeats itself. That defensive line composed of Harry Brockbank on the right flank, 2 center defenders composed of Yuma and of Andrew Fox, and then of course Eder Boeli down the left flank. That defensive line, if that's the starting lineup that's announced here, in approximately the next 20 to 30 minutes, I think El Paso Locomotive fans should feel a little bit more confidence about what's going to be the defensive effort tonight for the Locos.
Very good. On the San Antonio side, what should we be looking for?
like I said in my preview, I think you should look for what the forwards are going to be able to do tonight, not just in attack. Obviously, scoring goals is the point of the game. That's what we all live for. But seeing how they track back and try and win the ball off of El Paso, I know it's a new system under John Hutchinson, but it looks like there is still sort of an emphasis on passing the ball around, using possession, to try and control games. If SAFC brings those forwards back and really puts pressure on them and is able to win the ball back, I'm sure they could get behind that Locos defense and really cause some chaos. Just have to have the finishing touch.
All right, we're gonna wrap this up. It's our last entry here. Edson is back there doing the operation, but it's the four of us together. Once again, guys, I cannot express myself how happy I am to have the three of you working with us. Amazing coverage of USL. It's easy for us to say that we have the best coverage of MLS with Chris Pills, Victor Ariza, and John
John
Arnold, and some of the freelancers, Phil West, that brings that whole
Love his columns. Love his columns.
Of
I never
MLS.
know what Phil is gonna write about,
it's-
and then he drops it and it pops up on our webpage, and it's awesome. Great work by
It's
Phil.
so good, and you gotta read his books also. He has a couple of books about U.S. soccer history. It's really cool. So there's so much known knowledge on our MLS coverage, but what you guys are doing with the USL Championship, I'm very proud. I know it's a little bit harder sometimes to deal with the USL teams. They're not